Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on September 16th, 2021 at approximately 4:44 a.m. PST. Okay, thus far, you have managed to get a thought process, a thought organized. You've made a decision. Okay, you've come out with a direction that you're heading in. We've already talked about your purpose, the plan to get there, and the requirement of persistence to make it. Okay, now the next step and the final step in your journey to success, at least as far as laying this out, is patience. Now, before I get into this, speaking of patience, if you like the video, give us a thumbs up. Absolutely subscribe to our channel, as we have a lot of information coming out, and it's coming out as I'm sure you've seen, in a lot more organized fashion. Okay, now the thing is, we are all starting at exactly the same place. Okay, now remember when you hit the subscribe button, remember to hit the alert button to let you know when the next video comes out. I do my best to get one out a day at least. And I've got a number of them that I've got to get dealt with from other venues, from other subsections, if you will. Okay. Now, the patience is this. Everybody's starting in exactly the same place. You're all right here, right now. And the reality is, that's the only time that anybody can ever do anything to change their own life. And you are the only entity in existence that can alter the path your life is going on in a deliberate fashion. Sorry about that. 4:44 in the mood. 4:44, yeah. 4:44 in the morning is a real good way to do things. Not. Anyway. You are the only one that has dominant control. Now, people can do things to you. They can derail your system. Okay. But you're the only one that can actually deliberately direct your path. You're the one that's got control over you, regardless of what anybody tells you, myself included. Don't take my word for it. Figure out yourself. Who makes you breathe? Who makes you sleep when you're tired? Does anybody do it except you? Okay. Now, yes, there are mechanical additives. If you end up on an iron lung, something else is helping you breathe. But without mechanical assistance, you're the one responsible. Now, it did not take you a nanosecond to get to where you are. And it's going to require patience, to see your efforts pay off. Okay. Now, that patience boils down to you've got the plan in motion, you're consistently and persistently making the changes necessary. But you've got to have the patience, you've got to develop the patience to realize that it did not take you just a moment to get to where you are. It's not likely to take you just a moment to get away. Now, even I made the mistake, and I'm really not that special in all fairness, not in my eyes. I made the mistake. I ended up with a lot of money coming in from my own parents passing. Okay. And absolutely, that money came in and helped immensely in clearing my debt load. But it didn't do a thing for the thought process. And it's the thought process that you've got to have the patience to modify. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you one tool right off the bat that's got nothing to do with a lot of you. But if you've got addictions and you're going and you're getting support and what have you, I've got one more addition for you to that support. Okay. Now, I used to drink a 26er a night, and I quit counting lines at 6. Okay, so yeah, I was into some heavy drugs. I was into heavy alcohol. But I found a tool that works like an absolute charm for most people. And it doesn't matter how far in you are. What matters is whether you're stubborn enough and patient enough to do a very simple thing. Take a recording device of whatever form you choose. Okay, an auditory one. You record in your own voice. And I'm just going to use alcohol as a marker. Alcohol, drugs, eating disorders, okay, all of it can be altered with this same tool with minor modifications. Now, if you've got a specific question or a question at all, drop me a line in the comments below, or if you want to keep it a little bit more private and away from public eyes, look at the list of contact points below this video and drop me a line and ask me a question. Okay, but here's the tool. Now, this one's absolutely free. It will not cost you a plug nickel as long as you have a recording device. Take a recording device and for half an hour, for half an hour in your own voice, where it comes to drinking, you literally take that recording device and you go, I no longer desire to drink. And that's where it ends. You repeat that for a half hour, period. That's the boring part. Okay. And you sit there and you repeat that into a recording device in your own voice. The reason for that is because the human brain, the corporeal brain, takes programming most effectively from its own voice. So you repeat into this recording device for a half hour. I no longer desire to drink. The same applies if you're striving to quit smoking. I no longer desire to smoke. Repeat it for a half an hour straight. At the end of the half hour, shut it down. You're done. Okay, that's the boring part. Now, from that point forward, because the most susceptible time for somebody for a brain to take programming is either right when you're waking up or right when you're going to sleep. Well, clearly you can't do this right as you're waking up because you have to wake up enough to turn it on. But when you're getting ready to go to sleep, when you're done doing whatever you're doing, you've turned off the lights, you're ready to go to sleep, hit the play button and leave it run, even on a low level. Okay, it's just got to run. Your subconscious will pick it up anyway. Let the thing play. Average time for turnaround is 21 days. If you miss a day, start over on day one. Have the patience to realize this is going to take some time. Now, it may work very quickly. Okay, I'm not a good example. I broke the drinking and drug habit in literally, it took me 6 weeks. I suspect he'd put it that way. Okay, with no drugs, with no withdrawals, okay, no replacements, but you play this thing right as you're going to sleep. Average turnaround time is 21 days. Okay, it may take less time, it may take more. I cannot guarantee one way or the other. I won't even guarantee it works for you, but I will tell you it has worked for a staggering number of people. What happens is you let that play. Now, you're still going to be drinking or doing, or smoking and what have you. The patience thing is to realize that by persistently running that tape right as you're going to sleep every night, you'll reprogram your brain. And what will happen is you'll stop having the cravings. It will not, in all likelihood, it won't alter your path. It'll give you the option of altering your own path. Now, I'm a firm believer where it comes to drinking, there are two types of alcoholics. You have alcoholics, which can be either uncontrolled or controlled. And you have recovered alcoholics. Now, I used to drink a 26er a night. Okay, but I simply stopped all of that, and now it takes me 10 years to kill a 26er. Okay, now this does not make me special, this just makes me stubborn. And I figured out a couple of keys. And the thing is, you have to have the patience to realize that what took you a lifetime to get to is not going to go away overnight. It's something that's going to take you some time. Okay, it will take some time, it will take some effort, but the effort has to be yours. Now, I can tell you, as anybody can tell you, what you're doing is detrimental. I'm sure you realize that if you've got an addiction, or if you've got if you've been beating yourself up, you had this goal, oh, I can't do it. People tell me I'm not good enough. Well, the reality is, if you're raised and you're constantly being told as a child that you're stupid, the odds are you're going to turn out stupid. If you constantly tell your kids they're rebellious and they won't listen, if you constantly tell them that, you can bet your bottom dollar they're going to be rebellious, they're going to not listen to you. This is why I covered a while ago, you minimize the negatives, you maximize the positives. Now, that patience is going to require some time on your part. And you're going to falter in all likelihood. This is not likely to be a clear run. Okay, and this is why I say it's so important when you fall off track to get back on track as quickly as you can. And that's where this neat little list comes in. Okay, by keeping that list, you can go back over it and straighten it out. Get back on track and get those little tasks done. Okay, where it comes to things like drinking and drug addiction, it literally is one day at a time. But here's what they don't tell you. Life happens one day at a time. Work happens one day at a time. It's not anything against anybody. All things happen one day at a time. Every journey happens one step at a time. And you're the one in control of whether that happens. That's on the wrong side. So you're the one that has dominant control over whether your life changes the path it's on to something you're more content with, or whether it stays where it is. Now, you've been told, undoubtedly, that first and foremost, change is difficult, it's scary, it's painful, there's all sorts of things you've been told. Hence, you get stuck in this mental bind where you create a barrier for yourself. Okay, now this is because society has been telling you it is this way, and you have bought it hook, line, and sinker in all likelihood. Okay, now I've never been really good at following the guidelines. Following the law, absolutely. Okay, this does not mean I'm perfect. But it does mean that at least I'm willing to look in the mirror and go, I've made mistakes. And, I've done things that were really stupid, as in, I knew better and did it anyway. Now, there is no question I'm a little too literal for my own good on occasion. And there are things I say that will offend people. Absolutely. I'm not politically correct. I'm not the most, shall we say, diplomatic individual. I will use terms that many people take offense to. And I've had to develop patience with people because the reality is I don't see a functional difference between people. If I look at somebody and I refer to them by the color of their skin, it's because that's the color of their skin. Now, to me, that's kind of a novel thing because I've only actually had color vision for 14 years now. It wasn't until 2007? No, 2007 was where I had the problem. 2009 is when the color vision came back in. It's only been since 2009 that I could see color. Until then, everybody was gray. Even Caucasian people were gray. And since I couldn't see half colors, everybody was the same color. They were all the same shade. It wasn't until 2009 that I could actually look at somebody and go, oh, you're a different color than somebody. Like, people keep saying you're different colors, and I only knew of two. You were all gray, or there were a few people, like if I saw an albino, I would know they were all white, because somebody told me that's what it was. Okay, there were some black people that I refer to as Numenorian. They're extremely black. But that is their skin color. It does not matter what color of skin somebody has. I will refer to somebody as having blonde hair, because that's what they have. That's the color. Now, it becomes a bigger problem when I refer to something as being retarded. Now, yeah, many of you will jump and you can't call somebody retarded. Well, you can, because the way I've always learned about retarded means restricted. You're slowed down. There is nothing wrong with thinking more slowly. Okay, more slowly than other people you know. Nothing wrong with it. It takes you a little longer to get it, but it's the person inside that matters, and it has taken a staggering amount of patience, which I haven't perfected by any means. But you got to realize, whatever state you're in, whatever position you're in, okay, however you got there, you're in the same position as everybody else. And it's going to take time, it's going to take patience on your part to shift the energy. If you've been brought up thinking that because you've got more money than somebody else, then that makes you better. If you've been brought up to believe that, I can't effectively blame you for it. That's all you've been taught. Okay. But what I have come to understand is that the people that have money and the people that don't are the same people. Okay, it's got nothing to do with it. But you have to have the patience to realize that however you got to where you are, it took you a while to get there. It's going to, in all likelihood, take you a while to get away from it. But when you can get to that point, and this is why I say, when I build myself as a spiritual guide, every tool that applies to me, I'm using. Every tool I offer you that applies to me, I'm personally using. Every philosophy that I live my life by, okay, that I pass on to you, that's what I live my life by. Okay, now if you're following a path where the people that are dictating this stuff, whatever they're dictating, if they're not following that path, you have to question their philosophy. Now, I've told people, take the time to get to know who you're dealing with. I have had no problem talking to people, as long as, well, I shouldn't say I've had no problem. I get really hung up on what I call stupidity. You know better, and you do it anyway. But it takes patience to stay on track. It takes patience. It does take a certain amount of stubborn disposition, and rest assured I developed that one in spades. But it will take patience to get you through this and land on your feet. And I know some of you are looking at me going, you got to quit drinking so much coffee, but, we got to realize that, well, you don't have to. The strength of the coffee I drink, you would not consider coffee. Because most people with a 12-cup pot put in 4 tablespoons of coffee grounds. I put in 1. Okay, that's all I put in. I just don't like the flavor of water. But when you're changing the direction your life is going, it's going to take patience to make it happen. Okay, to give it the time to change. Okay, if you get your hair cut, it's not going to grow back right away. And one day I'll get around to getting my hair cut. But it's not going to go away right off the bat. Okay, it's going to take time. And the thing with time is the only time you can make a change in your life, no matter how much you desire to, the only time you can make a change in your life is right here, right now. Okay. And you're the only one that can do it. People can talk to you about it. They can offer you all the tools. Every tool I offer you, it's your choice whether you pick up that tool and use it. I will tell you this. The best tool on the planet is absolutely useless if you don't pick the tool up, if you don't put it to use. And the reason I'm going through these steps one at a time the way I am right now is because you require the building blocks to be able to do the work. Okay, you cannot learn to read if you do not know the alphabet. You cannot learn mathematics if you do not know the number system. Okay, you cannot alter the path effectively of the way energy is running in your house if you don't understand how energy works. And that reminds me, this funny little list is this funny little list I keep. Where is it? Oh, right in front of me. Duh. Okay, this list is the list of videos I'm working on. And I've just thought of one that I have to deal with, and it will go next in line. And that is, how does energy itself actually work? And this particular video is going to be a little bit more on the technical side. I will keep it as simple as I can. Okay, but there's only so simple I can keep it. But I will get to that. It's next on the list. Like I said, I'm right now working 2 weeks down the road. I've got all of these laid out. That's why I've got this list here, is so I can stay on track with it. And there are a number, the next 8 or 10 videos are simply covering the way that thought works to get into the pathway of physical manifestation. How do you take your life from a thought of where you're sitting to where you desire it to go? All I'm doing right now is laying out the building blocks. Okay, and I will continue doing that, even though I've stepped back from physical society as much as I can. Okay, and it's going to take me, myself, it's going to take the patience of just waiting for things to calm down a little while I get my own life organized, okay, and get things moving in the right direction. You've got a goal in mind. You've got a dream that you would like to see happen. You've got to have the patience to give it time to happen. Now, it won't happen on its own. If you don't get up off your tail feathers and start working on it, it's not going to change. Okay. Now, there is somebody that offered to talk to me about marketing, okay, in order to get my books to move. And I'm just waiting for a call from them now to get things moving. I've got some ideas in mind as to how to do it. Do I have the knowledge for proper marketing myself? Frankly, no. That's one of my holdups. Okay, but I am ready to go to work on it. And this happens because I got my writing station sorted out. I've got my painting station sorted out over here. And if you look at that sign back in that corner, you can't quite read it, but that wood sign says, "I am worth it." Okay, and this is the other that I've got to make a note for to make sure I move it today. Where did it? No, not that one. Yes, I do this a lot. I know that. Here we are. Where'd the pen go? Right there. Okay, and this one we move the financial side. And these are just little projects that I've got on my list to get done. Okay, that's to move this sign here that says I have legally earned a minimum of $2,000 by September 30th, 2021 at 23:59, also known as 1 minute to midnight. Now, on the plus side, we've just hit the 15th, and I'm already over halfway there, which is about expected. Okay, will I make my goal? I'm absolutely certain of it. But it's going to take patience. I won't know whether or not I make that goal until I make it. I've got to have the patience to see things through. I've got a path in mind. I've got to have the patience to make that happen. Okay, so I'm going through this list and writing it off. Some of the stuff I didn't get to the other day. So it's the first stuff I'm working on. Same with you. You've got a plan in place. You've got a list of things that you know have to be altered in order to get your life moving. Well, it's going to take patience. It's going to take effort. This doesn't happen by going, gee, I wish my life would be better. Gosh, I wish I had a better job. If you don't get up and do something, you don't get it. I remember somebody telling me, I had a client phone me up one day, and they were absolutely adamant. They desired a new job. They were not happy with the job they had. And so I asked them point blank, have you handed resumes out? Well, no, I don't want to hand resumes out. Well, surprisingly enough, they didn't get a new job. Okay, the thing with getting a new job, you've got to put the effort into getting it. You've got to have the patience to let it work. And you've got to use the persistence to go after the responses. Okay, this doesn't guarantee success, but I love the way Wayne Gretzky put it. You may fail 95% of the shots you take, but you will fail 100% of the shots you don't take. When you desire your life to change, it's going to take patience to let things happen. You're going to have the persistence to continually pick yourself up and carry on. Now, I came across a philosophy a while ago that says one is not judged by the height to which they climb, so much as by the depths from which they have climbed. Now, I used to be a professional procrastinator. Okay, I'd put everything off. Okay, I also I've been into heavy alcohol, heavy drugs. I've been bankrupt twice. Okay, so I do not come from a silver spoon type outlook on life. I have not had things handed to me. A lot of garbage, a lot of bullying. Okay, but I'm here to tell you, I'm 58 now. And there is an old saying that goes, if I knew then what I know now. It's not so much if I knew then what I know now, so much as if I had acted upon what I knew then. Okay, what I knew at that time, I'd have been in much better shape. Myself, I kept putting it off. Now, you're striving to change the direction your life is going. You're striving to alter things you're not content with. Now, no matter what's going on, you cannot change the way other people feel. In all likelihood, you can't do it. Some people can. There are empaths out there strong enough to alter the way somebody feels. Okay, but that goes completely against karmic law. Be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Energy out, energy in. Okay, those are the only 3 laws I pay attention to. Now take a look at the guidelines that you have. Okay, and compare them to those 3 laws. And what I do feel you'll find is that they all fit inside those 3. If you find one that doesn't, absolutely drop me a line in the comments below and let me know what it is. Because I keep looking for that. But for you to change your life, and let me just see, I think I just overdid myself really badly. Nope. Your life is yours to control, no matter what anybody tells you, no matter what your intellect is sitting like. You are the one that has dominant control over it, but you're going to have the patience to see your journey through. Now, with that in mind, I keep these to a half hour. So I will be back tomorrow, and tomorrow we are going to be, where are we? Of course, there we are. Tomorrow we are going to be discussing the principle of creation, and I am not talking creationism. Okay, we're not talking creationism, we are talking creation. Okay, the non-religious form. Okay, although it might fall into that. But anyway, I will be back again tomorrow. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.